Hello everyone, welcome to English 111 College Composition 1, and this is your course introduction. Tonight we're going to discuss general course information, how to read critically, and my philosophy on teaching and writing. So some general course information. You will always find the most accurate and up-to-date information in the learning units. That's where your schedule of activities are. That's where all of your assignments are, all of the links to the work that you need to do, the readings, the writings, all of it. It's in each individual learning unit. For email, I respond to email at least twice a day, so you'll receive a response from me within 24 hours. However, on the weekends, I don't usually check my email, so you might not get a response until Monday morning. So just so you know. Ask questions pertaining to the course in the I Have a Question forum. I do check that regularly. If someone posts a question in the I Have a Question forum and you happen to know the answer, by all means, please answer the question. Don't wait for me to answer it. If you know it, you take care of it. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Class discussions and lectures. During the class discussions and lectures, which will be online, obviously, it's a good idea to take notes. And I've explained to you this, the Cornell, the image of the Cornell note-taking system is on the left-hand side of the screen. And that is a good tried and true system of taking notes. If you're not familiar with it, you can check it out. Just do a quick search for Cornell Notes and you'll get all kinds of videos and directions and instructions for how to do that. The other thing to understand about why it's so important to take notes is that taking notes makes you think critically about the information and dive a little deeper and figure out what the most important elements are so that you can really focus in and hone on what you need to know. In any of the lectures, you are required to know the information provided in the lectures. It will frequently be applied to assignments. There may be a quiz about it. So it's really important that you do listen to the lectures, pay attention, and again, I strongly suggest taking notes. Working together. In order to be a successful class, it's really key that we work together. And there are several ways that we can do that. One is through by being a resource and helping with assignments, helping each other with assignments. So that's, again, where I suggest that you use the I Have a Question forum extensively. Talk to your classmates, ask your classmates questions, and as a classmate, respond to those questions, answer those questions, support each other in the course. The other thing that we will be doing in this course is peer reviews of each other's essays. And just, there'll be more instructions about that, but the way that I do it is I'll have you post your essay in the discussion board forum and ask people to respond to your essays. I might send up a chart just to make sure that everybody gets feedback, because sometimes one or two people don't get enough feedback. So I'll try to do it that way. But when we do peer reviews, it's really essential that you get your essay posted by the deadline, because everybody's working to deadline, and if you don't have your essay posted, then you may not get any feedback, and that's only going to be to your detriment. So do make sure that you adhere to the deadlines and get your work posted when it needs to be posted for your benefit, as well as the rest of the classes. Study skill requirements in this class. To be successful in an online course, you must be what I like to refer to as a proactive learner. You've got to be able to work well independently. You've got to be able to use your critical thinking skills and figure things out and to ask smart questions. Don't sit there in isolation and frustration. I don't know what you don't know. So the only way I can know that there's a problem or you have a concern or something isn't clicking for you is if you tell me. Otherwise, I don't know. If you're just sitting there in silence, I have no idea that you're struggling or frustrated or having issues. So make sure that you communicate with me and with your classmates so that we can make sure that everybody in the class is having a positive experience and everybody's getting what they need out of the course to do well. To be successful in this class, you need to be organized and dedicated to learning. You need to check your email daily and Blackboard. I update the materials almost every day. I will post an announcement when I update course materials. This is also a good time to add a plug for Remind.com. If you haven't already done so, please do set up the Remind.com because it's just an additional way for me to communicate with you. It's also a quick way for you to ask me questions. I almost always, like you, have my cell phone with me. So if I get a text from Remind.com, I can check it out and look and see and what the question is and can answer you really quickly. The benefit of Remind.com is it allows us to text each other, but it keeps all of your information private. So nobody is going to have your telephone number or anything like that. We just have a name. So you can text your classmates, you can text the whole class, or you can text me using Remind.com. So it's a really good tool for us to use to communicate with each other. So I strongly recommend that you do it. If you don't, you're not going to get the notifications and the information that you need. And I'm also giving you 10 points towards your grade for this first week if you set it up. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is to set a realistic amount of time to work on course assignments. Make sure that you have time and space, a place where you can work distraction-free on your coursework. And that's a good rule of thumb for any class that you're taking. Keep up with the workload. Late submissions are not accepted. Well, they are accepted, I contradict myself, with a 10-point deduction up to 1 week. So that means if you wrote an A paper, you're going to get a B for it. If you wrote a B paper, you're going to get a C paper. And if you wrote a C paper, you're going to get a D, which is better than an F, which is 0. But still, it's not helping you. So make sure you get your work done on time. The next point that you need to know is that you need to submit all of your assignments via Blackboard. There's always an assignment link. If for some reason there isn't, email me or send me a remind and let me know, because there should always be an assignment link for you to submit your work, something that you can click on to submit it. Do not send your assignments to me via email. I'm teaching 125 students this semester, and if people start sending me assignments via email, they're likely to get lost, and I just don't want to deal with that. If we keep everything in Blackboard, it's nice and neat and organized, and it makes sure that you get your work evaluated in a timely manner. Time and schedule. This course is designed to require the same amount of time as a face-to-face class, which means that you can expect to spend at least 6 to 9 hours per week on this course. So just 6 to 9 hours a week is going to be focused on this course alone. If you're taking a full load, you've got to add that to it. And if you've got work, a family, relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses, it starts to build up your time. So that's why it's so important that you set aside a particular amount of time just to focus on the course. Assignments. Their reading assignments will be online and PDFs. You also have a textbook. If you go to reading materials in the course menu, you'll see your textbook. Your textbook is online. If you have a paper textbook, that's fine. If you have a paper Little Seagull, no worries, but you still have to buy the online component. And you purchase that through the bookstore if you have financial aid, number one. Number two, if you don't have financial aid or it's $20 in the bookstore, you can purchase it online from the publisher for $15. So either way, it's relatively inexpensive and you can get the online access that you need to have. We will be doing exercises and assignments in the online component, so it is essential that you do have that. There will be different kinds of assignments, from essays to grammar quizzes to reading responses. So there's lots of different kinds of assignments, and there's also reading quizzes. I will give you brief quizzes to make sure that you've completed the reading assignment, and that you have a clear understanding of the main points or the main ideas presented in the assignment. There's going to be lots of writing. There'll be essays, less formal discussion board posts, responses to essays, responses to reading assignments. The more you write, the better writer you will become. So we're going to write frequently and often in this class. Rubrics, this is really important. You have an essay assignment coming up in the next learning unit, and I have posted a rubric for it. Go to the gradebook, click on the rubric for the assignment, and what that does is it allows you to see how I'm going to be evaluating the essay, what I'm going to be looking for, and how much points each element is going to be worth. It's really important that you do this so you have an idea of what to focus on. And these rubrics will change because I focus on different elements in different assignments. So it really is important that you check out those rubrics so you know what to expect when you get graded. Also, after you've been graded, click on the rubric so that you can see where you lost points. And whenever I take away points, I always type some kind of explanation as to why you lost points. Even if you get full credit and you get a 10, I strongly suggest that you look at the rubrics because I'm telling you what you did well. I'll say, oh, this was a great introduction, or you did a really good idea organizing your materials. It's good to know what you do well so that you know what other things you can focus on or need to focus on. Because even if you get a 10, it's not perfect, so there's always other elements that you could work more on. Revise and resubmit. This is a grade that I sometimes hand out, not very frequently, but occasionally. Students will turn in work to me that just did not meet the assignment requirements, just way off base. And rather than just give you an F, what I like to do is give revise and resubmit and give you the opportunity to redo the assignment. So when you get a grade of revise and resubmit, you'll see it either in the rubric or in my notes to you. You'll see it says revise and resubmit. What you should do, the first thing you need to do is read over my comments and then set up an appointment to talk to me. You can email me, we can meet online, we can talk over the telephone, but set up a time to talk to me, and it'll only take probably a minute or two, but just so that you know what it is I really need you to do in order to revise and resubmit the assignment successfully the second time. When students don't do this, they end up revising the assignment 3, 4, 5 times, and that's just a waste of your time, and it wastes my time too, because frankly I have to regrade it each time, so it's a time waster. So make sure that you check in with me and have a clear understanding of what didn't work out and what you can do to improve it. Why are we doing this? So why are we taking a writing class? There are many reasons, and these are in no particular order, but one reason is to become stronger readers and writers. Really what college composition does is it prepares you to be a college reader and writer. While high school has gotten you where you are today, it hasn't quite made you college ready. And college ready, no, that's not the right word. You're ready for college, but now you're going to learn how we read and write in college, which is a little bit different than what you did in high school. So it really is to prepare you for college assignments to be successful in college. You're also here to learn research skills. Part of being an academic, part of being part of a college community is that you learn how to research information. That is a key element of being a college student. So we're going to practice research skills. You're also going to practice writing as an academic. As I said a minute ago, it's a little bit different than writing in high school. And so you're going to be writing in an academic context, so with the nuances that are relevant to that. And this is key. The last one is probably the most important because this is what being a college student is all about, is to exercise your critical thinking skills. You're going to learn how to really become a strong thinker. And by learning how to ask questions, to find answers to those questions, and to make meaning out of the information that you find is really what being a college person is all about, is learning those skills and being able to do those things. What is reading critically? You're going to be reading, and it's really important that you read in a particular way, which you may not have done before in the past. First of all, you don't want to multitask and try to read at the same time. It does not work. There have been tons and tons of studies that show that our brains just cannot multitask. Our brain does not multitask well. What happens when you try to multitask is that parts of your brain pay attention to some things more than others, and so you don't get a real clear understanding of any one thing that's going on. So don't try to do two things at once. Turn your cell phone on silent, set it aside, and focus on what you're going to focus on for a specific amount of time. The other thing to do is not to just try to breeze through the material. You won't get any meaning if you do this. You really need to think about what the author is saying, what the purpose is for the reading assignment, why you're reading it, what you're supposed to get out of it. So one of your first reading assignments is how to say nothing in 500 words. That is a really important essay, and you need to take the time to really read it and pay attention to it, because it's going to give you a lot of information that we're going to be using throughout the rest of the semester. When you get a reading assignment, preview the material, look it over, see how long it is, see how many pages it is, see how it's written, are there subtitles or headings, and pay attention to the homework assignment. Check and see what that says what you're going to do, or what the purpose is of the reading and what you're supposed to get out of it. So, just take a look. It's always a good idea to do that when I open a learning unit, to preview the learning unit so you have an idea of how much work you're going to have in that unit and how long it's going to take you. Make a reading schedule and stick to it. Once you have previewed the material, you should have a rough idea of how long it will take you to read through it. So plan your time accordingly. If you know you've got 15 pages to read and you don't like reading more than 5 pages at a time, then know it's going to take you 3 days. You're going to set aside 3 days to read 5 pages each. So break things up into manageable increments and follow that schedule. It will make life easier for you, and it'll just help you. You'll get your work done, and you'll have a reasonable amount of time to focus on the reading. When you're reading critically, it's important to ask questions of the author. Consider, what is the author's purpose? Why are we reading this? What is the author trying to tell me? And who is the author writing for? Who is the audience for this piece? And this usually is related to the purpose. So for example, the author in the How to Say Nothing essay is an English teacher, and he's writing to students. His audience is you, writing students. So he's got a very specific task of writing to students, and what his purpose is to tell you how to write a better paper. He's giving you some key suggestions for improving your writing so that you're not writing the same old boring essay that you wrote in high school. How to step it up a notch and make it a little bit more academic and interesting to read. So he gives you tons of advice. So, but that's his purpose. So if you pay attention to these elements, then when you read it, you know what you're reading for and you know what is most important. Take notes when you're reading. This will help you considerably when you're doing your homework assignments and when you're taking quizzes. So take notes. It really does help you to remember better. Again, there's been tons of research of late that shows that taking notes by hand really does help students better remember information. The other thing to do is to highlight or underline words, or if you're taking notes, write out those words that or passages that don't make sense to you, that are strange or just jump out at you as really important or interesting. Also, if you come across words that are unfamiliar to you, look them up. Understand what the word means, because that will help improve your vocabulary. And that's part of learning to read critically and to write well, is improving your vocabulary. Summarize the points that the author is making. After you've read your 5 pages for the day, summarize, write a paragraph of the main ideas of those 5 pages. And what that does is it really, again, helps with your memory. It helps you to really focus on what is important. It will improve your writing skills because you are summarizing, you're analyzing and critically thinking about and summarizing a piece of writing. And anytime you do that, it's only going to enhance your critical thinking skills and your understanding of a particular assignment. My philosophy about writing, and I think it's important for you to understand this so that you understand where I come to when I'm writing or when I'm evaluating your essays. And that is, in general, I think that writing in the broadest sense, an essay is written expression. However, authors write for expression and for very specific reasons. So we don't just tell the world what we think. We do that for a reason. We want people to think like we do. Usually, generally, we're trying to persuade other people to see the world from our perspective, and to see how good that is or bad that is, but in some kind of evaluative sense. So we write to express ourselves, but to express ourselves with a valid reason, and that's we'll come to that. So one of the key things is people don't you have to make it interesting for your readers. You have to make your readers want to know what it is that you think or feel or believe. People just aren't going to automatically want to do that, especially at this time in your academic career. None of you are, I'm assuming, published writers or great writers at this point in your life. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that what you do write has a reason to be read. So, and that sounds simple, but it really is a lot more complicated than you think. Writing should, well, and that pretty much encompasses the second bullet, really. The third point is writing should always be written with a very specific audience in mind, and it should have clear and specific purpose. You want to have an audience. Who do you want to read what it is you have to say about Donald Trump, for example? Do you want Donald Trump supporters or Donald Trump non-supporters to read? Who do what is it you want them to read? Who is it, and what do you want them to get from it? No one should ever finish reading your essay and go, what was the point of that? If we finish reading your essay and we do that, then you have failed to convey your message. And we don't want that. That's not good. So we'll work on making sure that we really clarify our point, and that when we finish reading your essay, we know, okay, this is it. I get it. I see where that person's coming from. May not agree with that person, but I see where that person's coming from. I also believe that good writing requires good thinking. This is why I emphasize critical thinking so much. If you have lazy thinking, then you're going to have lazy writing. You're just not going to go into depth in anything, and you're not really going to say anything. And that's just boring. It's a waste of time for your readers. It's a waste of time for you. So when you're going to put the effort into to write, you need to think about what it is you're saying and really get into it. And that's why I think that writing is hard work. It really isn't easy to write well. Now, a few of you, every once in a while, I'll get a student in one of my classes who just is a prolific writer. Writing comes easily to that person, and that person writes well. That's the exception to the rule, though. Most of us, we have to work hard to write well, and that's okay. That's because it requires a lot of work to write. I also believe that no piece of writing is ever truly finished. There's no such thing as a perfect piece of writing. It can always be tweaked, and that you have to plan your time so that you have enough time to tweak your work so that you can actually get your work done in a timely manner. I also believe that writing is a skill, just like any other skill, learning to ride a bike or learning to uh, use a sewing machine or a welder. Um, the more you do it, the better you become at it. The more you practice writing, the better you will write. And it just takes practice. So that's why we have so many reading and writing exercises. My philosophy about teaching, and this is really important for you to just kind of understand where I'm coming from. And this connects back to being a proactive learner. You are not a sponge. Therefore, if you cannot just sit passively and read or listen to my words and learn. You have to do something. You have to be actively engaged. I can't make you be actively engaged. I can't make you do the writing assignments. I can't make you do the reading assignments. I can't make you think. And then because I can't make you think, I don't give you knowledge. Knowledge comes from doing. Knowledge is something that you do for yourself. It comes from activity. It comes from reading and writing and thinking. It's not something that I can just pass on to you. If so, the world would be a much smarter place, I think. But learning really is about you being an active participant in the learning experience. I am your guide. I teach you by showing you, by telling you, by giving you opportunities to practice, but I can't make you do it. You have to do it. And that requires effort and dedication on your part. So that's where knowledge comes from, and that's where being a good college student comes from, is your dedication to learning. So how much you want to be here, how much you want to learn is up to you, and it's personal for each and every person. Finally, if you have any questions about this lecture, you can post them in the I Have a Question forum. You can email me, you can call me, set up an appointment, we'll chat. So, without any further ado, have a great day.